We are called upon this morning to believe in the power of God to multiply and magnify our life from nothing. I have always shared with you that one of the philosophies that has helped me in life to date is believing in this philosophy, sensing the invisible to achieve the impossible. That sometimes in life, what we see is different from what God sees. We see nothing, but God sees abundance. We see weakness, but God sees strength. We see challenges, but God sees opportunities. And when we decide to walk in the paths of God, then we start seeing what God is seeing in our lives. Ahab is very confused in the first reading. He believed in Baal, and Baal has been defeated. And Elijah is using the opportunity to magnify the power of God. And one thing is telling Ahab that the rains are going to come down. The servants are sent 7 times up to look at the clouds, but at the end of the day, they see very little or they see nothing. At the end, one of them comes and says, "We see a cloud the size of the hand of a man." But what is that for a community that has lost rain for some time? It is nothing, but Elijah is continuing to tell them, it is going to rain. God is going to bring the rain, and the rain is going to be a blessing to the people of Israel. This morning, we are also being called in a special way to believe that God will bring the rain upon our lives. In our moments of spiritual dryness, in our moments of economic dryness, in our moment of social and psychological dryness, we need to believe that God will bring the rain. And let us also pray that God will rain his blessings upon us, his power and his spirit. And for God to do this, 3 important things are in focus. One, the need to believe, as we have said, in God's ability to multiply our lives. That little cloud is a seed for a big blessing. The empty skies that we see upon us is actually an opportunity for everything in our lives. And the more we believe in God's ability to multiply our lives, to magnify our lives, to bring what is not there to be, the more they will come to pass. Why? Because God is faithful. Even if nothing is happening in our lives, the second thing we need to do is to lift up our eyes to God. It is always important to focus on the face of God instead of our challenges and problems. When we look up, we see God. When we look down, we see the messes in our lives. God is calling upon us today, like the servants, not to be tired, to climb the mountain, to look up. One day, empty clouds shall actually start gathering, and there will be rain, and that rain will come upon us. But for God to do all these things, what the gospel is saying is very important. We must overcome superficiality. Superficiality is the greatest sickness of our generation. We are very superficial and also very casual. Casual with our prayer life. People are very casual with their relationship and marriages. People are very casual with business. People are very casual, even in medicine. There is a lot of malpractice today because people are very casual. How do we expect God to treat us seriously if we are always very casual? And that is why Jesus is saying, stop being casual, stop being superficial, be serious with your faith. Why is Jesus talking like this? Because there is always a connection between the fruit and the root. The more we are rooted in God and His commandments, the more our life will be fruitful. And not only is our life benefiting by being rooted in Christ, but the more we are rooted in Christ, the more we have the strength to overcome the tides and the storms of life. Life has so many winds blowing, and we can feel those winds in our families. We can feel them in our place of work. We can feel those winds everywhere in our lives. But God is telling us, the more we are superficial and casual, the more we become unstable in life. To the extent that at times we are very superficial with the sacraments. We are very superficial with the sacraments, including the Eucharist. But today Jesus is telling us that we need to overcome superficiality by mending our relationship with God and mending our relationship with one another. One of the most powerful words that changes each and every one of us is a very simple but powerful word: Lord, have mercy. And if we look at the gospel, most of the people who experience the miracle of God in their lives, they never actually prayed for those miracles. They just say, Lord, have mercy. My child is sick, have mercy. Bartimaeus, Lord, have mercy. I want to see again. The good thief, have mercy. In one way or another, we need to pray today that God may have mercy on us for those moments that we have been very superficial with our faith. For those moments we have been very casual, even with our relationship with God and relationship with one another. And Jesus is actually focusing on reconciliation as a way of validating our sacrifices to God. That when we come to give a sacrifice, let us reconcile first. This looks very difficult, but it is a very important condition, that reconciliation. Why is Jesus talking about reconciliation? Briefly, because one, we grow when we reconcile. Reconciliation sets us free from the many locks in our lives. Reconciliation also heals our woundedness that has been caused by casuality. Walemo kawuono kendo wakwa Nyasaye mondo mi wateko mar yie ni koth mar hawi biro chwe kuomwa. Kata obedo ni polo ni nono, kata obedo ni waneno gik matek, chieng' moro achiel gik ma waneno go ka wawuotho kuom yie, Nyasaye biro miyo gibedonwa gweth kod hawi. Nikech hono en gima lwet Nyasaye otimo kama hawi onge. Hono en gima Nyasaye okelo ka onge. Ka wadwaro mondo wane hono e ngimawa, to nyaka wabed jogo man gi yie motegno, kendo yie modhi matut. To yiewani bende nyaka ng'isre e ngimawa mar ng'uono, kaka wang'uono ne jowetewa, kendo kaka wadago ngima mar ng'uono. Jesus kawuono ger kendo wacho ni ka wabiro golo liswa, to wafwenyo ni nitiere gimoro mane kindwa gi jowetewa, walos gino mondi eka wagol liswa. Wakwa Nyasaye odiochieng' ma kawuono mondo konywa kendo miwa teko mar ting'o gigi kendo tere msalaba. Somebody called E.M. Bounds actually said that reconciliation is taking our wounds, our hearts, our challenges, our unforgiveness to Jesus on the cross. May Jesus on the cross teach us to see possibilities in impossibilities. May Jesus on the cross also give us the grace to take those burdens of anger and envy and many other things in our lives to Him on the cross.